Hey everyone, welcome to this week's podcast here. Thanks for joining us live on YouTube. And this week we've got Brett from Stacking Slabs. He's got one of the fastest growing podcasts out there. We were talking earlier about how, the sports card market is probably one of the fastest growing podcast niches out there. And Brett's definitely out there bringing his take to things and, bringing his passion right on through to your ears and to your eyeballs. And he's got a real great background. He's obviously very connected to sports. You can see he's got a passion not only right behind him in action figures and pro wrestling especially. So we're gonna dive into all that. We'll talk about slabs and grading cards and should you grade cards, should you buy raw cards and get them graded, should you just buy the slabs out of the gate. Some other timely topics are the current football market. Is that where the money's moving? We're going to talk about basketball, like what the heck's happening there? How does this go from, one of the fastest growing, hottest markets to, cards are just kind of not even plummeting, but just kind of pulling back a little bit. And that's we're talking about that shift, right? And then if we get a chance, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the tools we use, whether it be market movers, whether it's something new like Card Ladder, Card Genie Pro. So just give everybody our little agenda here. But Brett, thanks for sitting there and welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Michael. It is an honor. I have been enjoying your TikTok ride ever since you jumped on. I think that's the first place I saw back into cards. So I'm excited to chop it up.
Thanks, man. Yeah, definitely. And likewise, seeing you on all the different platforms. And, that's one of the reasons that I realized that there's definitely content and there's definitely things to do on each platform, right? Twitter is a little bit more conversational. It's a little bit more interactive. It's a little bit more, kind of humble brag your cards, sell some cards, let people know what you're looking for. I think the sports card community on Twitter is great. Instagram too. I think, that's always been the place for the best pictures. The pictures on Instagram are just killer, and TikTok's fun, right? You did your parody of Eddie from Investicard. I just published one today. I got some slabs from Eddie, a little bit of everything, and
there you go.
Got a Don Russ, Derek Jeter, and a Yastrzemski and a Laureano. So I think I'm a good customer there, and he's got some really good deals. He's got a little bit of something for everybody. He's got, cards in the thousands of dollars, and you could spend $10, $12 on a nice card for either personal collection or even something you think is going to pop. So definitely.
I think just on Eddie, I think the one thing I'll call out is just, I did do the parody video on Eddie. I did it in good fun and good nature. It got a reaction from the hobby, and it was fun because everyone was like, is he making fun of him or is he having fun? And my intention was I was having fun, and their team took it great. And they challenged me to have Eddie on my podcast, Stacking Slabs. And I did, and it was a great time. And to be honest with you, it was like, for me, it was a reminder to not like make judgments on people like in and out of the hobby without having a conversation with them first. And I think that's just a good takeaway that we should all be thinking about, because through the social platforms, we're engaged with so many different types of people that we know and we don't know. And I think what will make all of us stronger in the hobby and will make the hobby grow is when we all have real and authentic conversations like we're having on this one today. So that was just a key reminder for me, just how just having a conversation can really change the game for somebody.
Right, and as we were talking about earlier, is I'm not looking to shatter any viewer records or anything. I come out here, have some fun. I just have a conversation. I said it reminds me of a lot of Zach Galifianakis when he would interview people. What is it, an interview between two ferns? I think that effect is on Netflix, I believe, or maybe it's just YouTube. I don't even know. I saw a couple episodes here and there, but same thing. Just having this conversation, talking about the hobby, and maybe we each learn something from each other and others too, right? So. So the one thing I noticed too, you've done a couple of spoofs, whether it be on Instagram or Twitter or TikTok. You would integrate pro wrestling into some of your stuff. So tell me a little bit about that. I like to learn more about my guests and tell me about growing up and like, have you ever been to a WrestleMania or Royal Rumble or what have you?
Yeah, you just opened up a can of worms, Michael. This is a
Uh,
topic I could talk about until tomorrow morning, but I'll try to just sum it up. I think when I was 3 years old, I had the TV on and I saw Demolition on the TV with their face paint,
yeah.
and that moment I was hooked. And then the next day went to Toys R Us with my mom, and I've actually got the originals from the when I was 3 behind me, but saw wrestling figures for the first time, the Hasbro's at Toys R Us. Bought Jake the Snake Roberts, bought Smash from Demolition. Became obsessed ever since. Grew up with it. Never stopped. First big show was WrestleMania 8. That was the double main event with Hogan versus Sid and Macho versus Ric Flair. But the match I always like to talk about was Rowdy Piper versus Bret Hart. You can go back and watch that match, and it really, like the whole build to it, the interview with Mean Gene beforehand, it's all like 10 out of 10 type stuff. But it just has snowballed over time. And, everyone's busy with jobs and stuff, and people got movies, Netflix, people have video games, people have sports, this and that. It's like I've always found like my place of relaxation and escape to be professional wrestling. So I'm the type of personality that whether it's sports cards, wrestling, or music, if I'm passionate about it, I'm like all the way in. So like that's why I've got these wrestling figures behind me, and my wife is a saint that has allowed me to have this room is the wrestling room / hobby room. So it's just one of those things that, it's a creative outlet, it's entertainment. And if it's a good opportunity to unwind when I'm watching it. So that's why I really, really love wrestling. And it sucks that COVID's going on, because I go to shows all the time and I can't do that anymore. But I just think about the next time I step foot in a arena with a wrestling ring, a pay-per-view, and just that feeling of the audience. And I just makes me reinvigorated by thinking about it.
That was interesting how they pulled off, WrestleMania this year with no fans. I mean, of all the things, wrestling fans is one of the more iconic audiences in anything sports, entertainment, or related whatsoever. I mean, you watch soccer now and they're pumping in the sounds. I'm semi-impressed with what the NBA did with the virtual fans live. And baseball did it with the cardboard cutouts. Everybody had their own take on it. But wrestling, they were just in a studio, like they were almost producing a live movie. So
Yeah,
really, I think that was one of the first ones to do that too. I think wrestling did before any of the sports came back.
Yeah, and I think that ran its course, and then Vince saw what the NBA was doing with the bubble, which I think
Yeah.
is been the best presentation. And now they got a residency at the Amway Center where the Magic play, and now they're doing the Thunderdome, which basically is like TV monitors everywhere, fans watching just like the NBA, and it definitely helps. So I think every type of sport or entertainment's finding their tweaks and trying to figure out, all right, now that we're 6 months through it, how can we make the presentation even better?
Right. No, I thought that was genius at the time. So talking about making tweaks and stuff, right? So I think so. First, I was going to say that one of the reasons I got back into card collecting was I was looking for something to do. So the same thing you said, how watching wrestling soothes you and it's your little escape from reality. Like that's what card collecting has become for me again. Opening up packs, hunting cards on eBay, haggling offers. I mean, I didn't step foot into a card store. Well, I did before everything shut down. So right around when COVID started was when I got back into it. But it's really helped me since. But getting back into a card store, having around Father's Day, because it was out by my in-laws, and the cards are out there open, and I went, and I was just in awe. Like I had to consume it all. And how do you do that in, say I had like an hour to kind of get what I wanted to get. And I remember, buying a few cards and stuff, and it just how good it felt to get home and then intermingle those cards in with the rest of your collection and such, and do things like that. So when we talk about tweaking, football is coming live in a couple of weeks, right? So I think we're seeing now some tweaks to football cards, and we saw like Card Genie Pro talked about it, how he kind of drew a curve, and it looks kind of like this. Like if you look at like annual, right? So like here's where the season starts, and here's where like Super Bowl ended, and then here's like the whole summer, and that's where you should be buying cards, right? And I think what happened was basketball coming back consumed all that and took a lot of the, unless the people who were really focused, micro focused on football. I think people are just now starting to catch up to football, including myself. So I'm trying to find the deals that are still left out there, and there are. And I think I've been advocating for it, that I'm trying to change up, and everyone's going quarterback, quarterback, quarterback. And I'm saying, there's other skill positions that just have opportunities, maybe not as big, but top 3, top 4 running backs gotta be a good hunt. Top 7 or 8 wide receivers gotta have some good value out there, like Marquise Brown. And you talk a lot about Terry McLaurin, and I like Darius Slayton on the. I watched him play a lot last year with the Giants, and I watched him and Daniel Jones have some chemistry. Like, I think there's some value there, and I've been buying him up. But I think the money's moving towards football, right? So you could talk a little bit about how what you've seen happen with basketball the last couple of weeks, and it's not just people getting knocked off of the playoffs, but people who are still in the playoffs, and what those cards are doing, and where that money's going, into football. So what's your take on kind of how it's moving?
Yeah, so I think with football, and I've been talking about this a lot on my podcast for the last several months, is that I think that as the market is expanding, inevitably, like, there's going to be a focus on football, which is the most popular sport in the country. With all the new people coming in, there's the element of fantasy, DFS, sports betting, and those types of new people in the hobby are going to not only add more people to football, which will increase market share and demand, but also what it'll do is it'll flip the hobby on its head from this is what it used to be like. And that's why I think it is not just about quarterbacks anymore. It's about the guys that are dancing in the end zone every week that people are paying their money for in DFS, people that want to be drafted in the first few rounds in their year-long fantasy leagues. So I think there is a focus, and you're seeing this right now, of people buying up some guys that they love watching on Sunday that doesn't have to be the quarterback. So I think with that, like, I think, everybody's in a fantasy league, right? And there's going to be or two, and there's going to be one guy in those leagues that are into cards or just got into cards. And someone's going to say, oh, I beat you this week, blah, blah, blah. But beating you for what? Maybe like a $600 a league purse. Well, you have the opportunity in 1 week to make that $600 on you investing in a player that you believe in and then selling his cards. So the power of that, and people are going to share that story in all their leagues, and people are going to be interested in cards. So it's only going to grow. So I think, here's like the data point, just to like really drive it home. People, if you look back in May, the Michael Thomas PSA 10 silver rookie card was going for $250. Now that card is an $800 card. He hasn't even stepped on the field yet.
Michael Thomas done anything since to push that value up now.
Right. And so Michael Thomas, I mean, the guy is an unbelievable football player, and he's going to be dancing in the end zone, catching passes from Drew Brees, and being exciting to watch every week. That card is going to then double again. So like that type of trajectory is what we should anticipate. And I think it's a lot of fun. People are on it now. There's a lot of different ways you can go about it, but like it provides a chance to make your Sunday that was already amazing and dedicated to football, like even more amazing, which is unreal to think about.
Yeah, you look at tools like StarStock. I mean, it's basically day trading for cards. Like people are like, oh, this card is $50 on StarStock. That's not real. Just like the same way that you buy a share of stock, it doesn't truly represent the value of the company, divided by however many outstanding shares there are, right? And there's some anticipation in that number. There's some built up hype and expectation. So I think when you're looking at a StarStock price versus an eBay price or whatever you want to use for comps, people have to understand that. And ComC is somewhere in the middle of the two. Because I think ComC is its own eco-verse.
It is.
You know?
Yeah, it to be honest with you, I think what you said, they're all different. And I think as a person in the hobby, understanding how they all work, using them all and figuring out which one you want to do primary selling on, which you want to do buying, which is your hybrid, like really figuring that out. Like that's people don't do it. People don't focus in their energy on that enough. I think like if you focus your energy on what those tools can provide for you and use all of them, it's going to make you a smarter person in the hobby.
Yeah, no, and I think so too, is that, you know, you have to treat each of those three ecosystems separately. So if there's a card I think is going to pop, or someone, I have some close friends that are into soccer, right? And they'll be like, hey, this guy's going to sign with this club, whatever, right? First thing I do, because Star Stock doesn't do soccer, I'll write to ComC, and I'll buy I'll just buy I'll buy the 10 cheapest of whatever card I think is going to pop. And I'll list 2 of them just so I get a benchmark. And then I just park the other ones. And then you'll see the market move. And I forget who it happened with, Virgil van Dijk, I believe. And one already sold. I was like, ooh, that was kind of quick. And then I look, and yeah, I bought cards for $2 or $3 a piece that are now $8 to $12 a piece. I'm like, whoa. You know, again, the guy didn't step on the field once.
Right.
It's kind of like, it's like the green aliens in Toy Story. It's like, you are chosen.
Right.
You are the next one that we're going to lift up and make you special.
Totally. Yeah, it's all hype. But like for Star Stock, what I found is like, you know, especially after the bull bonanza, like,
yeah, that started it.
Yeah, I was just like, all right, Star Stock, like, I'm just gonna go, like, you can provide me the access to like the optics and prisms of all of these like tier like 4 or 5 rookies who might be able to do something next year, and they're just gonna sit in my Star Stock account, and I'm cool with that, you know.
Yeah. So I mean, look at your boy TJ Warren, right? I mean,
yeah.
Here's somebody that people were probably, you know, throwing those in the common pile like nothing. And he exploded. And so I saw it. And I remember I was sitting there and I saw it happening in the first quarter. I saw somebody tweeting about it. I wasn't even watching the game. They tweeted about how he had like 15 points in the first quarter. I'm like, ComC, da-da-da-da. And I bought like 2 or 3. And I think I bought them for like $2 a piece. And I listed them for like $7 a piece. And I went out to cut the grass, which takes me roughly 45 minutes. And I came back in and they both sold. And then I went to the listing and the ones that were there were like $35. I'm like, what just happened?
Yeah. So I did something similar. So I started my initiation on Star Stock when he had the 15 or whatever in the first quarter. And as a fan, obviously I was locked in, and I was watching the game live. So I knew the type of player he was. And I was like, this is going to be a big game for him. So I bought a couple on Star Stock, and then I went to eBay in the third quarter when he was just going nuts and bought some, which was fun. But like the story of that card, like, it went up all the way, like his Prism Silver went up to like $284 right after the Lakers game, right after he scored 39 points, and now is down to like $84. And like it's gone down that much. But like, I think like a lot of these guys still haven't gone down enough to go buy. But that one, I think if you look at the Pacers next year, there's rumors that D'Antoni's going to be the next coach. He is going to be like, that's a perfect coach and system for him. So I think like that card right now, like it's one of the few cards in the NBA right now that I'm like, that card is like a nice buy right now to speculate on Warren's future in Indiana.
The Prism.
Yeah, the Prism card. I think that's a good buy right now. Most of these cards in the NBA haven't gone down enough for them to be considered good buys right now, from my perspective.
What's your take on Select? I feel like this is the cousin of Prism, right? They're so nice. And like I'm seeing Mosaics kind of not being as where they were. I think they've come down a little bit, especially the base. I think some of the refractors and some of the short prints are a different story. But I think like the Selects, like this is a Prism concourse, so it's a little special, right? It's got the silver prism in it. But I know Selects in soccer are blowing up ridiculous too.
like aesthetically, I love Select, probably number one, just aesthetically.
Mhm.
And I think there's a huge opportunity with Select and buying it. I have been going nuts on Select football cards because I think they're undervalued, and especially like the serial numbered one. So here's like this
Yeah,
Kyler Murray tricolor card, which is
nice.
gorgeous. PSA 10. It is of 199, and I think these cards right now in the hobby, like if you look at Prism prices or contenders or those are out of your budget, like the Select cards still have a ton of room to grow. So like I'm very keen on Select for football.
Nice. What do you think about the Donruss ones breaking out tomorrow?
Is that release day tomorrow?
Yeah.
I think it'll be your classic story of the mad dash at retail, right? Like everyone's gonna
Yeah.
be going nuts on them. But you got to expect like those cards will be probably more expensive than last year's set just because of the demand. But like I think if you can find them at retail, like go buy them and rip them and enjoy them. But like that's not necessarily a set I would buy secondary right now.
Right. No, I would agree. I would agree. So I'm trying to bring up the Panini America site.
What are they going? What's the price on the hobby?
So I think it was 208.
Okay, that's not as ridiculous.
There we go.
Yeah, I mean, like, like just check out, like, I feel like it's kind of surprised me that
Here it is. Yeah, 209.
209. Okay, that's actually
No, you got the
that's
certified
not
at 250. Yeah, it's not terrible. So you're getting 10 cards a pack, 18 packs. You're getting 180 cards. Is that right? Wow.
I wonder what does it tell you on their site? I've never bought direct. Does it tell you like you probably have to go to like a third party to see like the parallel and the breakdown of the hobby box, right? Or do they have it on there?
In terms of like the odds of each card?
The odds and yeah, what like how many autograph cards do you get? How many, parallels?
Oh, well, this says in the hobby box, 1 auto, 1 memorabilia, 12 rookies, 6 rated rookies, 12 parallels per box on average.
Man, I'm like, this is the first time I'm seeing this price on this box.
Mhm.
And just, I think like, this is where I suck. Like if I bought this, I would rip it down. Like I couldn't keep it. But I think like, if you have self-control, buying these boxes and stashing them is not a bad idea.
Yeah, that's why I think like buy 2, hold 1, rip 1.
That's not a bad idea. Like
You better just rip the right one.
That's right. Well, then you ripped the bad one, and you're sitting there, and you're like, well, like,
yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah.
Like I don't know. I know you talk to him, but I don't know how Ed Cahill does it, man. I would lose my mind sitting around all that product.
Oh my gosh, yeah, uber discipline with Ed. He's actually. I felt bad because I realized after we scheduled this, I'm like, oh my god, we're totally in his time slot.
Are we competing against Ed right now?
Tuesday, so we should. When this is done, we should totally go crash his break.
Yeah, we should.
And stuff. So yeah, this is where I did well with. I got the Panini Soccer Chronicles, right? That was the highly sought after set, right? This is just the empty box, right?
Yeah.
And these are going for like $450 now. I got 2 of them on blowout for $249 a piece, and I got 3 on Panini for $199 a piece.
What are you gonna do with them?
They already are all opened. Sort of. I'll tell you my story. So I broke one myself, right? One of the blowout ones. So for $250, you get 45 cards. I got a Mason Greenwood rookie. I sold it on eBay for $375 raw. So
wow.
One card I made $125, and I have 44 other cards, including a numbered Cristiano Ronaldo that I still have. To show for it. So I got lucky there. So then I had 4 left. So my buddy Anthony at Sack Wolves, he's all in on soccer. He's all in on soccer. he came up with a deal. He goes, I'll give you X amount of money for 2 of the boxes, and you put the other 2 boxes in. We'll open up all 4 boxes, and then we'll split them up. So I'm like, all right. So we ripped. It was on his Instagram. I should have put it on my YouTube, but the one card we opened was the all-time leading scorer in Argentina that Messi beat. So Messi broke this guy's records. Tati goal is his name. Okay. We got an auto out of 9 because his jersey number was 9. So it was an auto out of 9 of this guy's card. And we sold it for $1,000 on eBay within a day.
Wow.
And we split it. So I made $480 from that. I mean, I just came out way ahead. I have all these cards, and I feel bad because so many people are chasing the retail stuff, and it's not that good because the stuff you get in the hobby boxes, you're getting 3 autos, you're getting so many patches, you're getting number cards. You know, the only you're getting in the retail is, you know, some of the refractors and stuff, but you're not getting anywhere near what you have in the hobby boxes. You got it. And then there's the T-malls, which are like from China, and they're not as good either. So it's almost diluting the Chronicles inventory because now people are just opening disappointment. You know, they get all these expectations and how fast soccer cards could grow. And I feel bad because it's great that people are learning more about soccer and becoming more aware of it. And it was one of the first sports back in Bundesliga in Germany. And then everyone just jumped into soccer cards and they went, I mean, I had that Mbappe rookie. I paid $800 for the PSA 10. And right before the Champions League final, it was just on the cusp of being a $3,000 card. And that's about 5 weeks. It went from 800 to 3,000, right? We all have these stories of the cards that we come across. And I was like, I don't want to sell it. I think it could be a $4,000 card. And then right after Champions League, and now it's down to like maybe a $2,200 card. I'm still way up. And I bought 3 PSA 9s for $160 a piece. And I sold one for $279. I still have 2 more. That card got up to about $600 as a PSA 9. I mean, it's absolutely insane. Like, but it's starting to correct itself, like we're seeing with basketball. So you had a quick story about some of the things you're seeing in the basketball market right now too. And, you know, it's not necessarily a panic, I think, right? But it's more of a shift.
Yeah. Let me get there, but I do want to comment on just what you stated about retail and hobby and the difference. And I just want to like double down on that just because that's something not a lot of people talk about. People who've been in the hobby for a long time, that's just understood. But people that are getting back into the hobby, like it is a different ball game, ripping hobby boxes and then finding what you want at retail. There's a reason why the hobby boxes cost the way they do, because that's where all the value is. So we all just need to understand that. And it's not lighting your money on fire by going and buying and ripping retail. Like there's certain situations where if you find it, it makes sense. But like there is also a certain situation, if you find it, like not all of it makes sense. So I think just more education around what is good to buy and what's not, and the difference with hobby. There needs to be more content on that. So I'm glad you stated that. But like on the basketball side, I think there's definitely a retraction right now. Basketball it was inevitable. Basketball was just exploding. And I think as you're seeing, as teams get eliminated from the playoffs, as more attention gets put on football cards, definitely prices are moving down. I think, we were talking before this, but this Giannis PSA 10 hoops card, it was like $2,100, like 2 weeks ago, and now it's down like $800 and he's still playing. So it's across the board, like too. And the guys that are leaving, there's some players and cards that like, if you bought it at the peak, you don't want to know what it's valued at now. Like somebody bought a Joel Embiid, his silver prism rookie for a PSA 10. Someone bought it right before the playoffs started for $2,100, and that card just sold for $1,200. And then if you look in June, people are buying it for $700. So like I don't think it's a $1,200 card, but I think it's somewhere between 1,000 and 700. And so like for the guy who bought it or the gal who bought it at $2,100, I mean, that's a big loss and a lot of way to get back up to that. So I think that's another, like, people have to just be cautious on when to buy, and because there is specific times, because there's so much hype with new people.
Yeah. Oh, so we were so I'm kind of giving Brett a little bit of a free man's tour of StreamYard, but it shows me the live YouTube comments. I don't know if you see them on the right.
I don't.
Oh, well, I can actually put one on the screen, so I'll give a shout out.
What's up, Ziggy?
And he said, well said, there's value in boxes at retail prices. Yeah, definitely. So that's something you could do too. You could bring in comments as they come in to the live stream onto the broadcast too. It's a pretty neat tool.
I like it. Yeah, now I'm seeing it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've got some, I've bought a couple of retail blasters and stuff. I mean, for $20, if someone's looking for it and I can sell it to them, great. Otherwise, I can rip it. It's $20. It's not. I mean, I bought a Topps Chrome hobby box for, I don't want to tell you what I paid. Not as much as that Giannis card, but it's the Topps Chrome have come down a lot, which I'm surprised because I'm seeing more and more people just loving the cards in the Topps Chrome, especially some of the players who have been playing well lately, like Trent Grisham and Kyle Lewis. People just can't stop talking about Kyle Lewis.
He's going nuts right now. I'm like not in baseball. I'm an outsider in baseball, but Kyle Lewis is someone definitely I can't get away from an Instagram feed without reading on him. And so then all my people that are into baseball, they've been talking to me about how they got early on him and people are happy. So I think, like, with retail, just like to put a bullet in that, it's just like, if it makes you happy when you rip it and you get that satisfaction and that's where you want to spend your money, like, that's awesome. Like, we should all do the things that make us happy in the hobby. And certainly, like, there's been 2 instances, because I don't go hunting. I went hunting a lot when I first got started, but like the time component and me striking out, like, I'd rather focus my energy elsewhere. And if I go somewhere and retail's there, then it's like a nice surprise for me. But like the 2 times I like ran into retail, like I bought Contenders college football. They just put it out and I bought it all basically. And then I bought a lot of prestige football just because I was excited about football. Like, in retrospect, like, those were both, like, I sold, I got some decent cards that I've sold for a Jordan Love auto and some other parallels that I ended up selling, but I still lost in that. But it was like the experience of, like, on a Thursday night, just having all these packs in front of me and blasters and megas and just ripping them open. Like, that's fun. Like, so, like, we all should just do stuff like that, even if, like, we might not make money, like, but don't, like, make a habit of it, like, and don't, like, go broke over it. But, like, it's okay to do that every now and again.
No, I dropped my daughter off at soccer practice at high school, and they practice at 8. So I swung by Target. My wife was with me, and they must have just stocked. And I walked up and I got a Topps Fire, retail box. I got a Topps Fire blaster, and then I bought like 6 or 7 Topps Chrome blasters and a couple hangers. So I'm like carrying them like this. I left some for the kid. I'm walking up the thing and I'm paying and I check out and we're walking out of the store and my wife goes, now walk me through what you're doing with the $291 of cards you just bought.
I'm going to have fun, honey.
I said, I'll probably sell some. I'll probably open some. I said, it'll help me make content. Like, I can open them live and I can do giveaways with them. And, some people can't find them where they are. So I'll ship them to them, or I could even trade or, whatever else. And I said, I might even hold some and see how they go down the road. I mean, 2018 and 2019 sealed wax is pretty valuable nowadays. So I can't see 2020 being any less. I mean, the only fear is, and you're not into baseball, but the Topps Project 2020.
Oh God, I know. Yeah. Better. I mean, that was another one. It's like, I could be in it or not. Everywhere I turned, people were talking about the good, bad, and the ugly. So I followed that whole story.
I did well at first because I was early on to it too. Heroes for Sale, who from social media as well. He was talking about them. And I didn't learn about them until like card 6 or 7. And I'm like, oh, I missed a couple. Like I like the Cal Ripkins because that was an iconic card when I was growing up, and I wanted to get them. And then I'm like, he's like, oh, well, you can always get them on a secondary market. And on a secondary market, they're going for like $30, $35, $40. And I'm like, yeah, but they're $20 cards. Like, why am I going to go spend the extra money? Like, I don't need to have it. It's a nice to have. So I'll just move on going forward. So I look like some of the Dwight Goodins and stuff. And I'm like, all right, so maybe I'll buy 5. Actually, a couple times I just bought 1. I'm like, you know what? I'll buy 5. I could probably sell 3 or 4 and keep 1, and it'll pay for itself because I was guessing I'm going to sell them for $35 a piece roughly. And after eBay fees, I'm making $5 or $10 a piece. And, so I put the orders in, and then all of a sudden you just see everything going up. And next thing I know, like I get the one Dwight Gooding card, and I just had one of them. I'm like, I wonder how much they're going for. Okay, Topps Project 2020. $220 list. I'm like, I sold out right away. I'm like, I do not need to keep this card. I paid 20. I can make 200. That's easy. I don't like the card that much. It's nice. I'll take a picture of it for prosperity. And I sold it. And then I had a couple of like Mattingly's, and I sold those for like 80 a piece or 90 a piece. And they all sold like the first night, right? And then those cards were like $200 a piece, and everyone's like, oh, you're a fool, you should have held out, they're going to be so much money to down. I'm like, no one ever got broke making profit. Like, I'm fine. Like, I'm happy with where I am. But then I'm buying, and then it crashed. And I mean, now I've got like probably 50 cards sitting around. That's $1,000, and they're only going for like $6 or $7 a piece now. So I'm just going to hold them, because eventually down the road it might recover. Even if I can get up to 15 or get my money back eventually, so dude, what? Like,
everything always becomes cool again. That's like the new thing for sure. So I think holding them now and not trying to get like, $100 out of it is probably the right move. And like, I think just in general, it's like the story of that is, which is, we've all been there, especially getting involved with cards that have a lot of hype around them, is like, just don't chase the peak. If you got the profit, like, just make some money off of it and like move on. There's just so many opportunities in the hobby. And I think people get lost on that and get so focused. It's like, just move on, make some money and move on and find your next one. That's my mentality.
Here's some more shiny object stuff, right? So these Ben Bowler Topps Chrome raffles, right? So I signed up, and I'm sure people created a ton of Topps accounts, all emails to try to get 5 chances. And again, lottery, bad. It's tax for people who are bad at math. Like, having 5 chances is not going to dramatically increase your odds of winning over 1. So I put my name in a hat because it was free. And it's funny because you're winning the right to spend $200. Like, think about it.
Right.
But I'll do it because if I get it, it's probably going to flip.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if I'd open it, I'm sure I'll get people. But again, like, I it's a lot of money to be online. I mean, I've spent a couple $100 on a sports card. I don't know what's the most money you've ever spent on an eBay auction on a card.
So the most money since being back in the hobby that I spent on a card was not eBay. It was a direct sale, and it was this PSA 10 silver Kyler Murray Prism card, which this card is of, I think, a population of 86. So think about like football, Kyler Murray silver prism in a 10. It's a very hard card to grade. I had been doing research and studying this card, and just my Kyler, I've been high on just his situation in Arizona and his year. If you look at what he did at the end of his year 1 and the modifications the coaching staff made, I just think he's in a good spot to blow up. But anyways, I saw this is just social media, but I saw Josh from Cardboard Chronicles post a video about it. And so I went direct to him and started talking with him. And it was there was an auction that was going live that he goes, this auction's going to end at probably $2,500, which I was looking at comps and everything, and it was trending that way. The auction, I think, ended up ending for $2,600. He sold me that for $2,200. and the card now is like I think it's 3,200. So it's gone up $1,000 since I bought it, and he hasn't stepped on the field yet. So if he steps on the field and does what I think he's going to do with that low population on that card, that's going to be a big card. So there's a lot of factors and check marks where it justified for me internally that price point. So that's what I think is the fun part about cards. Like $2,200 might seem like an awful lot of money, which it is. But if you can get, based on what your knowledge is on him and what you think the market's going to do, if you put all those factors in place and think you're going to get gains from it, then it can be more of a smart play than, whoa, I just spent a lot of money.
Right. That makes sense. That's a very sexy card, Ziggy said. I want to let you know that.
Yeah, we hope he plays well.
Yeah. So we were talking about soccer earlier. So I think it's Jackson. We were talking on Cahill's Discord about Weston McKinney, who's another guy. He was chosen by the Claw, and he was raised up, and he will be. Do I have him here? You know, I put all my cards are actually cleaned up, so I don't have my cards with me. But Weston McKinney, his cards popped, and his Don Russ base card was going from like a $4 card to now it is like a $20 card. So we were looking at him, and I were looking at it like around $15. And I only have one or two, so I really wasn't apt to selling it, but I was willing to sell one to help him out. And we're watching the price and stuff. So we're like, all right, we're going to go on eBay hunting for an equal deal that's a little more affordable. So we found some Topps Chrome second year Weston McKinney cards. They were like $8 a piece, including shipping. So we each grabbed two. So yeah, you're definitely welcome. I all about trying to help people, and you know, I learn from people too, and that's one of my goals. My hidden agenda of the show is to meet people and learn. Right. So
that's the best part. That's the best part of doing content, is meeting people, and everyone's got a different take and a different angle on it. And if you pick up pieces from everyone else, it makes you operate better in the hobby.
Absolutely. So Ziggy's talking about not the Weston McKinney card,
Kyler
Murray, the recent comps with the recovery.
So goodbye so far, I guess. Now he's got to play the game.
He's got to just walk on the field. And then he wanted to know, what was your do you have an exit strategy, or?
So Kyler is I'm PCing Kyler and I'm PCing Terry McLaurin. So basically why I choose the term PCing with Kyler is because I have absolutely no intention to sell him unless he gets somewhere of the level where it's like I can sell some of his cards to make up the cost of the rest of the cards I bought. So with that being said, I think his career trajectory is just limitless, and I'm just a huge fan of him and think he is the model quarterback for, like, little kids are going to want to be Kyler Murray when they're out playing football with their friends. Like, he's like the Steph Curry type of football. That's so like, example. I just think I'm so like, I told my wife, I'm such a Colts fan. And I told my wife after I bought this card, and I've got a stack of Murray slabs, I said, I'm going to have to buy a Cardinals jersey. So when he's playing and the Colts aren't, I can rep my guy. And that's what's fun about it. It makes me feel like I've got like a piece of Kyler Murray now. And that's what I love.
Yeah, I wanted to get a Pete Alonso jersey. I mean, people at this point won't stop sending me Pete Alonso cards. I must have like 200 Pete Alonso's because he's with my Mets. And I mean, when I got back into really watching sports again last year, him in the home run derby was just awesome. And so I decided to PC him. I have a bunch of his slabs. I have ridiculous. I mean, I literally have almost a whole section of a monster box of just Pete Alonso. And the guy's only has 2 or 3 years worth of cards, but it's just everyone keeps trying to trade me and send me, and I think that's great. So I trade with someone who likes Freddie Freeman. Like, I have no desire for Freddie Freeman's, but if you like them, you know, I'll definitely give you 2 or 3 of like my shiniest, nicest cards. If you're giving me some Pete Alonso's, like, that's what I love about the hobby is, you know, I did a Topps archive break. So I don't know if you've ever seen a Topps archives.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, a lot of people have been talking about. Is that a new? I know it's an existing product line, but did they just release the new one? So that's cool.
They're fairly new, right? So you get a lot of these old 1974 look, and you know, so Greg Playing Games is an Indians fan. So I just took all the ones that had doubles of. I'm like, here you go. Here's some Indians coming your way because I have his address. I just sent it to him like, here, pay it forward and you have them, you enjoy, because I'm gonna probably make a couple of Cleveland Indian team sets and put them on Mercari and just let them go and see what happens. So I was gonna show you, this is my entire Terry McLaurin collection right here.
That's good. That's a good start.
Listen to some of your content, and it kind of, I did the research. So I got some patch autos, some PSA 9s. This one I really like, the Obsidian. It's actually a little damage to the slab, but whatever. It's a triple color. It's just, actually both of these are numbered to 25. So you got the triple color. You can see a little bit of maroon red there.
Oh, yeah.
And stuff. And I'm thinking too, like, I mean, I guess this year's cards will be Redskins too, but you're not going to find Redskins cards anymore, right? So that's add a little bump to these. And it's really cool because both slabs, because they're thicker point cards, like they're not your typical, PSA 10s. It's terrible for like viewership, and I'm going left to right.
Yeah,
thicker than the other. So I thought that was pretty cool. But I think I got one of these on Mercari, and I might have gotten one on either Facebook, a Facebook group or something. So I've been trying to look for him and Marquise Brown and stuff. I'm kind of bleeding into my next segment here, so I'm not gonna be quiet, and we're gonna try to wrap this up. But what I usually end the show with, and I didn't get a chance to prep you on this, but we talk about back into cards and back out of cards. So what are you into right now, and what are you out of right now, right? So if I'm talking about back into, I'm looking to try to find two things, right? The basketball cards that I think have dipped and now are kind of attractive in price, and have a longer term hold. So I actually sold a couple of these, and I rebought the cards that I sold at a lower price. So it's kind of like the stock market. I sell my Apple stock here, Apple goes down, I'm rebuying, right? I bought Boeing and I bought Norwegian Cruise Lines when Corona hit, because they both dropped, okay? Because I think they're long term. People are going to want to get back out there cruising. I think it's, there's a good opportunity. Boeing airplanes not going away, so it's a good entry point. So I bought some more Lucas. So I actually sold this card at $260 privately through Twitter. I sold it, or was it through Discord? Doesn't matter. $260, and I bought another one at like $240. So I kind of just re-entered it. I think it's long term, and I think one thing that the market did is inserts are becoming legitimate cards now, right? Even some bases, like I think there's some good things there. So that was one Luca, and I had another one too. I had the Select here, PSA 9 Select, right? So again, word Select. So Luca, long term, right? This guy's not going anywhere. He's going to be a legend, and I think it's only going to go up. So I got in now before I really missed the boat. So I'm back into some of the basketball after the dip, and I'm starting to dip into. I did a lot of TikToks about these wide receivers and running backs. I think they've not had the spotlight. They've been overcast by quarterbacks for so long. People like Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry. I think they're going to catch up. You talked earlier about Michael Thomas. I'm going to see if there's any value left there, even to grab some of him, because I think, like you're saying, long term, he's the guy people want to be, catching touchdowns and stuff, right? Odell Beckham has a famous one-handed catch, but Michael Thomas, you can't dispute his receiving yards and his just number of touchdowns. He's in a high-scoring offense. So that's what I'm back into, is some of the non-traditional football buys and buying on the basketball dip.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, what are you back out of, and then I'll go.
Oh yeah. So what am I out of? I'm backing out of soccer a little bit in terms of I think that market's really high. So I think I'm going to take some profit there and maybe reinvest into some of the soccer players that really haven't popped yet. So a couple of the Ronaldos and Messis that I do have, I'm going to kind of shift the money, right? So we're talking about moving money between sports. I'm actually moving money between players in soccer, and trying to move it into football, and like I say, looking into basketball opportunities too. I did have a question about Rui and Coby White. So I feel like I missed a boat on these. I should have been watching a lot closer because I have a ton of Coby Whites. So right now I'm just holding with them. If you've got some that you just got ridiculously cheap, I mean, I think selling it's not a bad idea. Like I said, no one ever went broke making a profit. So yeah, I think before the dip, really, if you've got some higher end ones and you want to move them, I think they're going to hold their value. The numbered cards, the refractors, things like that, the autos, they're not going to dip as much as some of the other cards that really have more quantity in print run. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not really looking to all the second. I consider those like second tier, third tier basketball players. I'm not moving them as much, and if there's opportunities to buy, that's where having a good tool that maybe we'll talk about afterwards can kind of help you. So,
can I comment on that one?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I think with Rui, like, what I know it's a rookie year, he's young, but like if you watched any of the bubble play and watched him, like he scared me a little bit because to me he played timid when Washington had nobody and it was his opportunity to be like the guy. So if you looked at like a John Morant who like Triple J went down, like he like I know they didn't win, but he tried to push it harder, more aggressive, and thrive. And that quality is something I want to see, and somebody I want to invest in. So I had a few cards that I had sold a while ago, but it caused me to be like, I don't know about him from a like long-term perspective. And then Coby White, the thing to look out for is obviously not part of the bubble, but his last 3 games when he got the starting role, balled out. That's what caused a lot of hype. People started buying him. I really like Coby White, but I think you got to pay attention to what the Bulls are going to do at the coaching position in order to like really invest in him for the future.
Wow. Powerful. Thank you. You blew away my analysis. I didn't get a chance to watch as much basketball as I would have liked. I mean, I caught some of the later games, but you're right. I think everything you're saying, I either read or, kind of got wind of too. I totally agree with you on that one. All right. So back out of.
So can I start with back out of, because I feel like closing with back into is more fun.
Go for it.
So I'm like, I would say I'm back out of the spending a lot of time buying raw cards, bulk submitting, and never seeing them again. I think bulk subbing will always have a place in my strategy, but like all the steps and risk along the way and frustrations will cause the hobby to not be as fun for me. So I think when they do come and hit my doorstep, that'll be like added bonus. And because I get to figure out what I do with them. And then I think that'll inspire me to like want to do that again. But like I spent too much time and money and attention on that. And obviously it's just like rip and wax. It's a gamble. I don't know if I'm going to get all 9s back or whatever. So I think like that to me is just like, it's kind of been an obstacle. So I'm like back out of that right now. Nice. And I'm back into definitely focusing more of my time on slabs, buying slabs, and specifically like you were talking about, I've just been going ham on these skill position guys that I think are going to make Sundays just great for the hobby and great for people who have them. I'm focusing specifically most of my time on the wide receiver position, and just some quick ones real quick. We talked about Terry McLaurin. Here's his red shimmer that I bought. This card's beautiful. It's of 15 PSA 10. This card, it just pops with his color of his jersey. There's only 15 of them, a guy I believe in and have a connection with because he went to my high school. And my brother-in-law coached him, which is, again, why cards are fun. You build connections with players. I've got this Hollywood Brown. This is the gold prism PSA 9. There's 10 of these. I made the big boy jump and got this because I talked about him so much. It's just like I wanted validation outside of just his base cards. This Devontae Adams. Don't sleep on Topps Chrome rookies. This is the Blue Wave refractor. This card has gone up big time since I bought it. But this guy has the potential to be the number one targets in the league. Like if he can be healthy, he's an awesome player. And then like guys like Mike Evans, who, Tom Brady.
Another one, Mike Evans. Now we're going to him. I mean,
Yeah, so it's like I think that's fun. Like I'm having so much fun buying these guys and knowing I don't need to get them in my fantasy team, but I can still buy some of their slabs and own a piece of them and invest in them, and then pay more attention to them when I'm watching football on Sunday. So that's the special things I think cards can do for us. It's awesome.
That's a whole show right there. How can I enjoy and profit from players I couldn't get in my fantasy league?
That's right.
It's just, yeah, that's true. Actually, that would be fun. Can you make a fantasy team and avoid your slabs?
I've actually been messing around with that.
That's awesome. I'm gonna have to. That's a fun TikTok right there. My starting fantasy lineup of slabs in my slab league. That's great.
You're gonna pay more attention to that than you will your fantasy league. I promise.
Absolutely. You're gonna sit there. Actually, so we shouldn't give all this away now. Great TikTok would be sitting there with your player slab, watching him play and like cheering him on and like.
That's right. You have to buy his jersey though.
That's true. Be all in with the jersey and everything.
One of the videos is you in your Giants gear cheering on the Giants, and the next one is you cheering on, Terry McLaurin. And now people are being a hater because they're like, wait, you're the Washington fan and you're a Giants fan?
That's funny. No, who was it? Yeah, so there's always like the joke about you root for two teams, right? The Giants, whoever's playing the Cowboys,
That's right.
Funny. Cool. Awesome. We didn't talk so much about tools. I know I mentioned market movers, and I talked to you offline a little bit how, they're a bit pricey. So if you're not getting a return on that investment each month, but just the sheer volume of content that they put out, if you don't have time to really go through it and sift it and not just be a robot and just follow what they say, but ingest it and process it and make it your own and then transform it. That's where I'm struggling personally, like full transparency that, I subscribe to them and I try to keep up, but it's just too much. It's too fast. Right. That's where I have trouble. I was looking at Card Ladder. I like Card Genie Pro. I like Card Genie just to go in and check the market and see what's moving up and down and stuff. And he's really developing the app too, to make it more user-friendly to massively quickly import. Like I struggled the first few times I used it for all the data entry just to enter one card. If he's going to do things where you could pick cards from a list or you could scan and do a reverse photo lookup, like that's key. That's key. So are there any tools you use? And I know you talk about Card Ladder, and I know you do some work with them. Anything else, or what do you recommend in that space?
Yeah, like I guess just my take on just platforms in general is like make sure you're like looking at everything and it's not a one size fits all. Like figure out what's going to work best for you and go use it and try it. And if it ends up not working, then go try something else. And I think that's like the benefit that we have in the hobby is that we have options. So like that's my recommendation to everyone. Just like go explore, go meet the people behind the tools. Like ask how it all works. It's like it's on you as the person in the hobby to go do the work to figure out not what somebody's telling you to do, but just like you have the opportunity to figure out which tool is best for you. Yeah. And that's my recommendation is just do the work and find out what fits your needs.
Nice. No, it's true. Right. Because now I'm looking at market movers and go, I love the tool, but can I find a tool to do just what I need and then, spend less money so I could then invest in a card or something too. Cool. Awesome, man. So I really appreciate you coming on and chatting it up. And I know I learned a few things. I hope that our viewers did. I hope you did. It was great catching up with you, talking wrestling. I love the Demolition Axe and Smash story. I shared with you earlier my Rowdy Piper story. And just so, going to WrestleMania and things. It's been great just having a chance to kind of talk with you and get people to learn a little bit more about you. And appreciate all the content you put out and, making people laugh and yet educating people on the hobby as well.
Yeah, Michael, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be on the show and definitely been enjoying following you along and look forward to the next chance we can chat.
tell everyone a little bit about where they could find you and some of the things you got coming up.
Yeah, so you can find me across all social platforms at Stacking Slabs. Instagram seems to be my primary channel. I have fun and meet people like Michael on TikTok, Twitter. Spend time on Twitter too. Podcast drops every Wednesday and Friday. The Wednesday episode is usually my solo performance where I'm just offering my takes on what's happening in the hobby and what I'm passionate about, and giving those insights to my audience. And then on Fridays, the hobby hustle, where I usually bring on a subject matter expert in the field to talk about a topic that I think you'll all learn from, and I learn from too. That's the point, is what Michael was saying. That's the best part about creating content, is you meet people and learn. I'm doing a lot of weekly Instagram videos, 10 minutes long, so check those out. But yeah, if you're listening to this and you don't follow me, hit the follow button and slide into my DM, say what's up, and I really appreciate those types of conversations. So give me a shout.
Good stuff. All right, well, thanks a lot. We just tipped the 1 hour mark, so that's good. Yeah, if you're still listening and whatever else, appreciate your time and anything. Drop me a comment here, hit the like button, follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter at Back Into Cards. I have a link tree / Back Into Cards, and that's got all my link. In fact, spoiler alert, I just launched some merch through Amazon, and I'll talk about that on my social media this coming week too. So that's a lot of fun. I try to keep that light and fun too. There's some logoed stuff. There's some t-shirts with words on it. What's the one that what is it? I collect cardboard with people's faces on it, or something like that. Or I collect small pieces of cardboard with athletes' pictures on it, or something like that. It's funny. So cool. All right, everyone. Thanks a lot. Brett, thanks again. I really appreciate it. And take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Michael.